Pierce. Here. Bowen. Here. Imhoff. Here. Barker is here, and Bernwald is absent. Hopefully will show up here shortly. Everybody should have got a copy of the agenda. Any questions, comments, changes? And if not, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion's been made and supported to approve the agenda. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. There's David. He just missed approving the agenda, so.
Tractor's only got so many gears, huh, David?
What'd you say?
They said the tractor's only got so many gears.
Okay, approval of the April 14th minutes. Everybody should have had a copy of the unofficial minutes. Questions, comments, changes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from April 14th.
Okay, is there a second? Motion's been made and supported to approve the April 14th unofficial minutes. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment on agenda items only. Okay, go ahead and move on from public comment on agenda items to, the treasurer's report.
Okay, the general fund had a beginning balance of $352,116, income of $2,226, expenses of $15,237, with an ending balance of $339,105. The fire district account had a beginning balance of $8.32, no income, no expenses, with an ending balance of $8.32. Honeymoon Heights Lights had a beginning balance of $11,556, no income, no expenses, so the ending balance is $11,556. The CD 301 had a beginning balance of $59,171, no income, no expenses, so an ending balance of $59,171. CD 302 had a beginning balance of $59,175, and no income, no expenses, so an ending balance of $59,175. CD 303 had a beginning balance of $50,978, no income, no expenses, so an ending balance of $50,978. The tax account had a beginning balance of $1,380.31. The income for the month was $14,123.42. Expenses of $5,545 for an ending balance of $9,957.
Thank you, Jamie. Any questions or comments for Jamie? I just wanna bring up a call that I got on Honeymoon Heights. Apparently they have some people that would like another street light put out there at one of the roads. I can't tell you exactly which one, but, they were wondering what the process was, and, so I ended up calling the road commission to see if they're involved in that process, being that it would be in there right away, and it sounds like, they would have to give a permit, but it's usually to like the electric company that would put a street light out there, so I ended up calling Tri-County Electric and got their service number and gave it to the people at Honeymoon Heights they would have to like go meet with somebody from the electric company, and they would tell them how much it's gonna be, and then they would report that back to us, because there is some fund balance left over in that account. Like right now, it's built up because the big bill comes in December, it's like $6,000 for the electric bill. But if there's, fund balance there that they could put another light up, that would be a process we have to investigate a little further.
Billed once a year.
What's that?
It's billed once a year.
Yeah, so there's lights out there already, and we
Right.
get one big electric bill comes
Oh.
in December every year, I think it was.
From the electric company.
From Tri-County, yep. So anyways, I just wanted to bring that up as was thinking about that when I talked about the Honeymoon Heights balance.
So would you take that into consideration before before considering on how much to,
To charge,
yeah,
yeah, which is something we would do at our meeting where we approve our budget. It's like $2.50 a parcel, $2, I think it's $2.50 a parcel that they pay for lighting on their, taxes, but depending on the cost of, if they get back with me, you know,
Right.
if they don't, then, so, anyway, just wanted to bring that up. Any other questions for Jamie or comments? I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the treasurer's report. Is there support? Support. Motion's been made and supported. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And then real quick, Jamie, anything further from the county on our final settlement as far as delinquent taxes? All of our stuff was turned over, and so we're just kind of waiting on them to disperse whatever the delinquent turned out to be. Okay, I would think that's coming in this month. I think that's roughly the time it has in the past.
I think that's what it looked like based on past records.
Okay. And then, as far as the BSNA cloud process, so we approved that at our last meeting. We have half of the training fee on this month's bills, but, I think it's first part of October, we have scheduled with them, with Jamie and Andy to work on the transition, so that Jamie can be, up and running for December first winter tax bills, so that ball is rolling. And then we do have one other item in new business related to BSNA, but we'll get to that. And then a side note too, so VC3, who was hosting our BSNA.net, that is now canceled, and I'm waiting to confirm with them that there would be no final bill, so still waiting on that. Okay, moving on to clerk's report, May bills list, so everybody should have a copy, updated copy. We did have one last minute bill, the very last item, Village of Lakeview, for our share of the dumpsters cost for the cleanup day that was last month. So that's on there. I mentioned the half of the BSNA training software, that's $1,900 is a little over halfway down the list. We did have our attorney bill for all the work she's been doing with the rezoning and getting us all ready for the public hearing on Wednesday. And of course, paying out election workers after the May 6th election.
That's $900 that'll be reimbursed, so that's.
For wages,
Mhm.
that, so, yeah, okay, so you will be doing that bill to the school for the cost of the election, so we'll be getting that money back, but we have to pay our workers.
And also the Spectrum printers invoice too, for 401.
Okay.
That will be reimbursed as well, so.
Any questions on the bills? Is there a motion to approve the bills listing for $22,967.43?
I make a motion to approve the bills for $22,967.43.
Motion's been made, is there support?
Support.
Motion has been made and supported, is there further discussion? Hearing none, we will do roll call. Myers?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Imhoff?
Yep.
Burnwald? Clark? Yes. Motion carries. This is on there too already, but the KCI prepaid postage, so we, have, that's $1,226. That is the prepayment of our summer tax, bill postage. We have to get that paid before they'll process our tax bills, which have to go out July 1st. So that, we're approving the prepaid, we approved the prepaid postage. But the, total proposal, there'll be the postage plus the cost of their service is $740. So I'd like to go ahead and get this proposal signed and sent in along with that payment, so, the total cost for KCI to process and mail our tax bills is $1,966.80. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the proposal for KCI for summer tax bills Is there support for that? Motion's been made and supported. Further discussion? We'll do roll call. Bernwald?
Yes.
Clark Hubbard, yes. Imhoff?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Motion passes. So, next month, in the bills realm, again, this finance, we have to have our public hearing for our 2025-2026 fiscal year budget. Our regular meeting is June 9th, which is the second Monday. I guess I'd like to do a workshop, call a special meeting for a workshop where, you know, go line by line each cost center and go through it like we have the past couple years. What do you guys think about the Monday before, which would be June 2nd, to call us a special meeting to do a budget workshop ahead of that, the public hearing, which would happen as part of our regular meeting on the 9th, which I have to get the notice in the newspaper on that, but can we tentatively, everybody think they could make that? Okay. Well, if we have a kind of a consensus that that date will work, I'll work with Ginger to get that special meeting noticed. And also, the public hearing for the 9th needs to go in the paper. Got that, so
Yeah.
the special meeting,
Okay,
that
that's
doesn't go
our,
in the
that's
paper.
that's our regular meeting as well.
Um, The
Ninth.
June 9th is our regular meeting,
Mhm.
which we will hold the public hearing
Okay.
during
Gotcha.
that time. And then we'll notice a special meeting for the 2nd
Mhm.
to do a workshop. Finish your thought there. Next thing is the elections update, so May 6th, everything ran very smooth. Thank you to Ginger and all of our election workers for all their hard work. It was kind of a slow, slow day, it sounds like, but, they were able to help you with some other administrative tasks and, had a, you got your, what is it called, a post-audit election result or something
Yeah.
back and flying, you guys got flying
From the
colors.
canvassers, yep, we got no errors, had a, again, so that was nice.
So that's 3 under your belt now,
Yeah.
in a short period of time. So
Anyway,
anyway,
starting to really feel it too.
thank you guys for all that hard work, and yeah, again, you'll be putting together an invoice for the school, cause they have to reimburse us for the costs.
And Lane Leppink, brought in pizza and, Pepsi for everybody. Right after we'd ordered from Dennis, but that's beside the point.
Okay.
So,
Okay, moving on to zoning administrator, Dave Kelsey.
Okay, at 11614 Hickory, new home. At 11766 Elmy Road, a storage building. At 6205 Channel Drive, they're gonna tear down a home and put a new one up. At 10394 West Tamarack Road, a new home. And at 6150 James Drive, a garage addition. Okay, for the violations, there's on Cutler Road, I've been working with the contractor that's gonna do the cleanup, and I just talked to him today, and he's hoping that I can meet him over there in about a week. You know, that way, he wants me to make sure, point everything out, you know, pretty much get everything out of there. But, I talked to him today, he said since then, the guy, tore the building down, so now it's a big worse mess, and, all the stuff on the inside, but he was told by the court if he shows up on the property, he'll get put in jail. So, but, yeah, I think this cleanup guy's gonna have the police there first, because the guy's a threatening kind of person. But behind Juniper, that's blight, and his fine's $785, last time I gave a ticket, it was $112.25, so I'll be issuing another ticket in a week or so for the same thing.
Okay.
At 6685 Hemlock, storage of RV, that ticket is, $750, the last ticket issued was 2/9/25. And, that's all.
So that one probably another month, if it goes by, you would write another ticket, or?
Well, it's about time right now to, it's been February, so I should go ahead and do it. I don't do it every single month, I give them kind of a chance, but,
So we have 3 new homes going in?
Yep.
Wow. That's,
Any other questions for Dave? Thank you for your report. Marcy, anything going on with land divisions?
I did one, I approved one, actually, what it was, they were splitting a chunk off from their larger parcel.
Okay.
And the neighbor was buying it, so it's going to be added onto the neighbors. And I made sure with the approval that the condition was it is to be added on to the neighbors, reason being it's landlocked. So the neighbor will add that onto theirs, and they have plenty of road frontage. So I just completed that one, I haven't even, gotten that yet to Andy. But other than that, I'm talking to different people on things that they wanna do, but no one has actually stepped up and made out application with fees yet, so. I can see it coming, I can see a bunch of them coming though.
That works.
Yep, and that's about it.
Okay, thank you. David, planning commission update?
We haven't had a meeting since our last, but our public hearing is this Wednesday for the lake ordinance. It's a normal meeting also.
Okay. That's something I wanna, I guess, bring up to the board also, so if they vote on Wednesday to, approve the 2 items, there's the rezoning, and then there's a couple text amendments that has to come on to the board for final approval. And, our next meeting, our next regular meeting wouldn't be until the 9th of June, but part of this will involve the camping, so I didn't know, do we wanna call a special meeting as a board to just get that, consider that, or do we wait until June 9th? Are we gonna start getting calls, I guess,
So you're saying, have a special meeting right after the PC meeting?
Yeah, I mean, it could be, they're meeting Wednesday,
Right.
we could meet
quick enough?
Friday, I guess,
Well-
or the following Monday, or,
I have a huge wedding going on this weekend, and I wouldn't be able to make it Friday,
okay,
so,
could you do like the following Monday?
absolutely.
What would that date be? Actually, I might-
19th?
It's the 19th. So, I guess what we would be doing is considering whatever, if they again, this is if they vote on Wednesday to recommend this on to us, would be consideration of the final zoning draft of the map, and we would also, and the text amendments, and we would also need to finalize the camping fees
Right.
and the process and how that's gonna work, because people are gonna be calling Dave
Right,
and asking, this closer we get to June,
so those fees aren't gonna be discussed Wednesday,
No,
That's something that we
we have to make.
you have,
Yeah,
okay,
and
so it will be discussed Wednesday, and then we.
Well, the fees won't likely
That's
be
up to the
discussed.
township board.
It's up to the
Oh,
board,
got
yeah.
it,
We
okay.
talked about it at the end of last meeting,
Right.
kinda tentatively said, I think, keeping it the same as the zoning permits, but we
And that's
did,
what we would do Monday then.
that would be what we would do
Okay.
Monday, in addition to,
Right.
considering the whole thing for final approval
Yeah, I say we should have it as close as possible to the Wednesday.
to the Wednesday, okay. So, would everybody think Monday is the best time for that? You're fine with that, okay. So then we would do another special meeting, we'll have to get that for Monday, May 19th, so we can work on getting that noticed, just the window and website. zoning board of appeals, I've been working on an application for those interested in, we don't have an alternate on the ZBA right now. And, I have a couple people that have expressed interest, so I gotta get an application for them to fill out and then bring that, so we can fill it out to the township board. And that's it for planning and zoning. Fire district update, Ginger?
They graduated, I guess you could say, or a fighter went through all the schooling and graduated actually, which is a huge accomplishment. I mean, you could still be on the fire department but not be certified. So they certified another firefighter. And the, bids came back on the ladder truck, and it was bad. It was over $100,000.
Oh my.
And the truck wasn't insured for enough to cover all of that.
How much insurance was on it?
I think 30,000. And so, what they're going to do is, Mike Pretzel's, a fabricator, something like that. Yeah, he's really good. He's on the fire department, and I know he's done work for the fire department for years. And he's going to try to help fix it along with other people that they're gonna all try to fix it there. They can't do it all, they can't do the hydraulics and stuff like that, but they're gonna try to put it back together as best they can, so.
Do you get the feeling that this was kind of a fluke deal with the insurance? I mean, is all the other equipment sufficiently insured?
This one
Is it
was
gonna
only
be looked
insured
at?
for that because they only paid $10,000 for it, even though the truck is worth
Doesn't matter.
a lot. So that wasn't discussed very much, but I think it will be brought back up again this time, is my guess.
We're still, I know we had, talked about going, or voted to go in with other townships to have a legal review of the agreement, and we're
Right.
still kind of working through that process, but one of the things in there, it talks about, adequate insurance, but, it's kind of vague. Kind of be nice to know, hey, everything is more than sufficiently insured, so that this doesn't happen again.
There were, the fire chief from Maple Valley wasn't there, and, John that runs the chairman, he wasn't there last week, or last month either, or this month, whatever.
So you expect more
So,
discussion
yeah,
on it at your
There
next
wasn't
meeting?
a lot, yeah, it was just discussion is what it was, and no definite, but that's their plan as of now.
Is to have somebody do some work on it.
Yes, they were gonna get the basket off, because that's the first thing you had to do, get it off the truck, so that they could work on it, so, we'll see.
Okay.
They came up with, that's about it.
Thank you. Supervisors report, nothing to report in the assessing department. The 2025 border review is complete. I believe the county should be done with their assessment equalization process. I believe it's now on to the state. Roads, we have that, our contracts and new business. The first chloride application, which we approved our chloride contract last month, that usually happens right around Memorial Day, so that should be happening in the near future. ARPA report was filed, by the due date on April 30th, so that's all set. Legal department, there will be some final, depending on how Wednesday goes, if that ends up getting approved, first by the planning commission and the board, then we'll have a notice of adoption and some residual costs there to wrap that up. Events and meetings, so the MOCCOM chapter of the MTA, the next meeting is Tuesday, June 17th. It's gonna be held at McKenna's. It's being hosted by Reynolds and Winfield Township, and the speaker is Pat Outman, our state representative. So, anybody in the board, if you're interested in going to that, the RSVP is due on Tuesday, June 10th. So, please let me know if you, would like to go to that.
Tuesday. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday. You
Yeah.
can. Alright, well, you got till the 10th to let me know.
Where was that one?
It's at McKenna's, here in town. Alright, okay, takes care of the reports, we had no old business on the agenda. Moving into new business, so, last month we had approved switching to the BSNA cloud, and we had just touched on this, service that's actually available to us now, using the existing BSNA.net. It's a free service for our online, payments. We use a provider through Mercantile, but, this is just something, that BSNA offers, and since we will be going to the cloud, I think Jamie and Deputy Treasurer Dutch had thought it would be a good idea to start transitioning to this BSNA online payment system, because that will feed into the cloud service that we're going into. So there's no cost to the township, it's part of what we currently, subscribe to, we just have never signed up for it. So the, fees currently paying, so for a tax bill, it's a 2.8% fee for a credit card. And I think Jamie looked it up, we're paying 2.95% now with the other current provider. And if you do ACH, which I don't know that we get a ton of those, but I could be wrong on that, but that is kind of a tiered fee system, so like 0 to 1,000 is $3 fee, 1,001 to 5,000 is $6, if it's over 5,000 it's $12 fee per transaction. So, I mean, this is something we're investing in, this cloud software. I think it makes sense to use the same payment provider to go into that, because it'll feed right into the system, where now we kind of have to manually go enter it. Any questions on that? And I did pull it was very difficult when we first, last year, trying to figure out what we had to even, find what we signed up for with that other provider, but from what I can tell, the paperwork that I provided, we can terminate it at any time. I think they require 30 days notice, so it doesn't appear like we're locked into some, long-term agreement or something, but we'll probably need to get on it pretty fast to get it canceled. So, any other questions on that? If not, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we approve the proposal, from BSNA payments. Support. Motion's been made and supported. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll do roll call. Myers?
Yes.
Solon?
Yes.
Imhoff?
Yes.
Bertle?
Yes.
Clark Hubbard, yes. Okay, and so we'll go ahead and, I'll kind of turn this, I'll get this sent over to BSNA, Jamie, and then I'll give you all the details to, I guess, find out what the process is, so you can have it for summer taxes. And also notify the Mercantile provider. Next item is the proposed rental agreement template. So, Ginger had worked really hard on putting this together. She did give you an updated version, so I think we provided a real rough draft a couple meetings ago. And she's condensed it down into a pretty nice format, I think, and there'll probably be, a few tweaks here and there, but we just kind of wanted the board to see the whole agreement, and we would like the attorney to just give this the once over, because there is some waiver, limited liability language that we just want to make sure we're good on. But as far as like the rules and stuff, did anything stick out to you that we might wanna add on here? And we've got it kind of all listed out, so there can be no, question on what the rules and guidelines are. One thing I thought would be a good idea would to just make it clear that there's no pets other than like service animals. I'm assuming people don't bring their dogs in here, but if it's listed in the rules, we know.
Actually, there was the last rental or the rental before, and right away they said, just so you know, this is a service on.
Okay.
So that's the first time I've seen one.
Okay, yeah, I mean, obviously service animals, but we
Yeah.
definitely don't want. I've also had open flames or something like that. I really don't, just,
Cause you have no smoke inside.
yeah. So maybe
And
we
just
can-
add that where it says no smoking and no open flames.
Yeah, I just put that right in with the,
Is it a gas stove or electric?
It's electric.
It doesn't have, yeah, it's not.
I was just making sure.
And then, I think too, the rental period, so you can do from one day from 8 AM to 11 PM. I don't know, do we wanna cut it off a little earlier than that, and we really want this rented out late hours of the night? What's your guys' thoughts on that?
I really don't think anybody would probably even be here till 11.
I don't, yeah, I mean, should we cut it off at like 9, 8, 9?
At least 10.
I probably wouldn't go under 10, because even if they end the party at 9, they have an hour to clean up.
Okay. Okay, well, if you guys, I mean, that's only 1 hour difference, I was gonna cut it off at like 8 o'clock.
not everybody.
Maybe I'm a little hard nosed on it, but if you guys are fine with,
Ready to go to bed at 9.
I don't think,
She falls
10
asleep.
or 11 doesn't really make a difference.
I would just keep it.
Keep it the way it is,
Yeah.
okay. And then the other thing said no prior setup or next day cleanup. We do get a lot of people asking if they can come in beforehand. Should we add, unless prior approval obtained from the township, maybe Janie or
With a fee.
Ginger's discretion?
And then are we charging for them to come in early?
And a $10 charge to come in early or something.
Now, see, I'm not being a hard nose on that one. I say if nobody else has it rented.
Well, we had a situation where somebody came in 4 days early and
Yeah.
started setting up for
And
baby
I
shower.
know,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, but I mean, if we add the language that they have to get prior approval from, at your
But
discretion.
then that also makes us have to make another trip in here and, or give them the key early,
Oh, okay, so there's.
I don't know.
Put it right in for a day.
If we don't put it in writing, if somebody really wants it, they'll ask.
Yeah, they
Okay.
will.
Okay.
So let's just not put
Just kind of-
nothing
Just
in
not
there.
not put it in there and
Yeah.
let the people, because if you put it in there, oh, well, you know, all that's
I'll
you
be
ask and I can
asking.
get in there, huh?
I'll be asking,
Okay,
just
but
let you
then,
know.
then when they do
That's all right, I
ask,
have
and they
a key.
ask how much it is,
Yes,
what are we
right.
supposed to tell them?
So we would charge them to come in early because,
Cause you have to pay to come in. You guys have to drive in here, right?
Well, it costs utilities and should they be in here?
somebody throw $10 out there?
I said $10.
What'd you say?
$15.
Because
And I guarantee people will pay it. They will. For them to be able to come in and set up where they won't have to come in early in the morning to set up.
Yeah, it is,
I would pay
it's
it.
a
It
real
would be
pain,
convenient
it's a
for
real
me.
pain, but it's really nice to be able to do that too.
Okay,
So
so,
we're supposed to be here for the people, something crazy like that.
If they want to
So
pay,
the-
come in the day before.
We work for the days.
Yeah.
we're not gonna put in here that it's $15.
Yeah, let them ask.
We'll let them ask and
That's the
then,
consensus by the
deal with
board
it
that
when-
it would be, okay.
I
Then they
also
can choose.
have in here, there's no, oh, someplace I have it in here, no cooking. Kitchen is for food warming only, no cooking, so we don't wanna bring in all that, whatever, and
Cooking it here.
when you cook in a kitchen, you're supposed to have a license. Or you're supposed to be, so you're supposed to just say it's a warming kitchen only, which brings me to that stove in there. What do I have to do to get that stove out of there and replace it with a microwave, put countertop there and put a microwave in there? Just get that stove out of there.
Work it in our budget.
No, I have a microwave, I will donate.
Oh, you're,
Yeah.
like a microwave? Oh.
It's almost brand new, I mean, it's,
We have a maintenance guy.
Well,
Just
if
kidding.
I wanted for
But what if I?
We'll figure that one out.
But what if I wanna heat something that's not heatable in the microwave? I mean, you kinda, I get the stove.
Yeah,
a
but
lot of
crock
people have
pots.
crock pots and they plug different, things like that in.
I have to say, it worries me a little bit sometimes, like, what if somebody left the range on or something?
I don't think it gets used, I think it's
Yeah, I
just
don't think
there,
people
but
are using it.
another thing that would really be nice too is if we could have like a strip where they could plug things in and then run a separate breaker for that, or, you know.
We have had discussion on that, it has, the breakers has, and we had to
Just
put
a
little signs that say
precursor
don't
to-
overload the breaker.
Precursor to the budget.
Okay, keep that on your wish list, so, okay, anything further? Again, there could be a little tweak here and there, but the general rule is, unless they have to be
It
there.
says here that this is Jamie's responsibility 100%.
This is a tag team effort between the clerk and treasurer, and we kind of talked about how,
I'm just down the street too, you know what I mean? So
No, what
I'm
I
always
mean,
available.
yeah,
as far as collecting the
Oh,
money
as far as
and
collecting,
stuff.
yes.
Right.
But yeah, if you needed, like, hey, these guys mailed a check, can you drop a key, you know, you could have Marcy.
and my goal, or our goal, is to get a lock on the door, electronic lock, that it's a smart lock, so that we won't even have a key, we will only have a code that can be changed by your cell phone, and you can say it unlocks at this time, on this day, for this person,
what
and
door?
this is the code. This door over here is what I was thinking about putting in at that door, because I would like to keep that other door locked, so that people come in this door, they don't all come in and go by the office and down
Right.
that way, they should
Sure.
all come
That
in
makes
this
sense.
door, but then just go down there to use the restrooms and
Right,
stuff.
sure.
Yeah, so I think if we put it on that door,
As long
But
as it's
another budget.
reliable, you know, another budget item.
right,
Sometimes
so
those
this,
things
so
can
this
get-
will change as far as some of the rules and regulations.
So you say you can just tell the person what the code is for that day?
Yeah.
And they can go ahead and use it, get in,
Yep,
and then we can just change it automatically.
on your, with your cell
That's what
phone.
they do
Oh, wow.
for Tamarack Place.
Oh,
I think Douglas Township has that too.
Oh, that's what I do.
But,
And
but
also-
but the question is, who's gonna be in charge of changing that code when it needs to be changed every day? Oh, no, I'm not.
Lemon.
It wouldn't
'Cause-
need to
'cause
be
when-
changed, it would only need to be changed every rental.
Right, but after the rental, it needs to be changed, or they can be in here whenever they want.
And, well, you can, the
Deactivate it.
one that I was
Deactivate it.
looking at, you can actually deactivate it.
Yep.
At a certain time, like after 11 o'clock,
Oh,
Right.
should by your phone?
yes.
Oh, nice.
Well, we'll iron all that out. Is there any other questions on the rental agreement? Is there a motion to approve the proposed rental agreement?
I make a motion to approve the rental agreement.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion's been made and, supported to approve the proposed rental agreement. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. So Ginger will just make those few tweaks, and then, we'll just ask the attorney to give it a very quick look. And we don't need anything extravagant, it's more of the legalese, liability language on the last page, so. Okay. Alright, FOIA policy, so is the next item, so we've kinda had a loose, somewhat policy in the files, but it really wasn't that clear and was in need of an update, and again, Ginger put a lot of time into going through, using an MTA template, FOIA request for public records form, goes on to talk about different things that can charge for, and then, if there is a cost involved, detailed cost itemization, sheet. Those are the main forms, I mean, there's
Yes.
other like extensions and stuff like that, but all that came from MTA using their templates. So, is there anything you wanted to mention on this? Seems pretty straightforward. No, alright, any other questions for Ginger? I'll go, yeah, I think it looks really good too. And this will go on our website?
Yes,
This will-
all of the forms will be, so I can figure out how to do it.
Yep. the two that we have in front of us, and then the extension form, if there's a denial, that form, and an appeal of denial, or appeal of fee, so there's
This
quite a few
will
forms.
allow, this will allow me to, for us to charge for nuisance emails. Sometimes you get, you know, somebody will constantly wants to know if we have any solar permits every month. And so I can charge $5 per email is what, yeah, because it's in 15-minute increments and it's $20 an hour for that kind of work. And so that will make somebody think twice if they really, I would think, if they really want it.
Right.
I know that all the other clerks are getting the same emails because they just bulk send them. So
And they have similar policies as far as what.
they're just now getting the MTA policy. I know Maple Valley has that exact same one, and I think the other ones are just adopting it too. It made it really easy for us, so.
All right, good, no other questions? Looking for a motion to approve the proposed FOIA policy.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed FOIA policy.
Is there support for that?
I'll support it.
Motion's made and supported to approve the proposed FOIA policy. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, last item on the agenda is our 2025 road contract. So we approved our chloride last month, so they could get that on the schedule. Like I said, that first application is usually right before Memorial Day or right around Memorial Day. So I had put a handout on everybody's desk of what I'm proposing for contracts, but I guess I just wanted to kind of give an overview. So this will be the first time Ginger and Jamie both have been through this road contract process. The rest of us have been on a couple times now. But just an overview of how our road project's funded and maintained. So all of the public roads in our township are maintained by the county road commission, and that kind of falls into two categories. You have county primary roads, which you'll see the blue sign with the yellow lettering. I think it's what, 523 or Diener and Elmy. Long story on how they established what ones were primary, dating decades and decades ago. We won't get into it, but those are 100% made by the county. The township has nothing to do with them. I believe it's Elmy, Diener, Lakeview Road going north out of town, Lake Road going north of 46 is one. And then there's the rest of the roads, which are part of the local road system. But again, they're all maintained by the county. And their main source of funding comes through the state. They get a portion of state collected fuel tax and a portion of registrations. But they do, so that road gets allocated, or that funding gets allocated, but they do ask townships to contribute to any local road projects. Mainly paving projects, but there could be a special gravel project or sometimes ditching work that needs to take place. On those projects, townships pay for the materials and an overhead factor, and the road commission pays for the cost of the labor, the fringe benefits, and all the equipment cost. So that's what the contracts we have up for consideration. You'll see the itemized breakdown on those. As far as where does the township money come from to be able to contribute to some of those projects? Well, ideally, it would come from a road millage, and some townships have those, but Cato Township does not have a road millage, and I'm not sure if we have ever had one. Certainly not, I don't think.
I know Dad said he tried twice when he was on the board before and they couldn't get him to approve.
So yeah, I cannot ever remember there being a road millage, but, so what we contribute is basically what's left over, what we can contribute from our state revenue sharing funds after we cover all the other operating expenses of the township, which continue to rise with the cost of everything and compliance and technology. But one neat thing this year is the county, in trying to spend down some of their fund balance, has offered, if a township spends $100,000 on qualified road projects, they will match that $100,000, so that there could be $200,000 of total spending in a township. So as far as how do we determine the road projects, so each year, the road commission provides a rating of each township's, local paved roads and their recommendations for what would, be potential current year projects. And on that handout I gave you, you can see our rating, at the bottom there. In 2021, we were at a 2.9. This is a scale of 1 to 9, 9 being the best, 1 being the lowest. So we were at a 2.9, and through ARPA spending and spending some fund balance reserves, we have gotten that up to a 4.1 as of the start of this year, which in talking to the road commission, that's a really good jump. Average is 5.5, so we're still just under, but we're slowly chipping away at trying to improve these roads. Cato Township has just over 23 miles of paved roads and just over 47 miles of gravel roads. We're one of the, our township has, I think we're number 2 as far as the most mileage of gravel roads. So that kind of leads into why we spend the money we do on chloride, because we have so much gravel roads. And chloride not only helps with the dust control, but it also helps with stabilization of the roads. They really pack it down and hold that moisture in. So, that's, people ask, well, why do you spend so much money on chloride? Well, because we have 47 miles of gravel roads, and we can't, the county maintains those as far as grading and stuff, but as far as the chloride and the dust control, that's something we contribute. So we brought our rating up, we're trending in the right direction. What else? So kind of the types of projects you can do, on a scale of the highest cost is a complete repave, tear it up, roto mill, am I using the right terms? That's the most expensive. The number I have, I mean, it's well over $150,000 a mile. I mean, it's big time dollars for that. Kind of going down the scale, something we can do to help preserve and extend the life of the projects that we've invested in is something called the chip and seal, or chip seal fog seal, which is, the numbers that I was given was about $25,000 per mile if you use slag stone, and $18,000 to $20,000 if it's trap, trap stone. And I rely on Dave to help me so I don't sound
What's
like
the difference between the two?
Just a little
If
bigger.
it's new, it's a smaller, so it packs in better.
Okay.
They can use that on the new stuff,
But they say that will extend the life of a road for another 5 to 7 years
At
if
the end.
you time it right, before it gets too far gone.
Within the first year or two.
Yeah, that's 2 to 3 years is what I had in my notes. And it'll also help keep the road smoother for a longer period of time. So you can get up to a 20-year life on a road versus 12 to 15 if you do a chip and seal on a recent paving project. So there's kind of this, we have our low rated roads that are on the chip and seal, and then hey, what have we spent money on recently that we can extend the life on is kind of what we're trying to balance here. There is also the opportunity to do some gravel resurfacing, and we've done a few projects the past couple of years, but I guess I would like to focus more on the paving for this year. So if you, again, go to the summary sheet I provided. So the first item is Bale Road, and that's all of Bale Road in the township would be Tamarack, from Tamarack, so you go out to Parker and you hit, that's Tamarack Road, and then you turn left on Bale, all the way to the county line is 2 miles. And that was back in 2022 and 2023, there was paving work done on that, and the road commission had a proposed contract for just over $37,000 to do a chip and seal seal coat / fog seal with the trap on that, just over 37,000 to prolong the life of that road. So I would consider that a preservation. That's 2 miles worth. One of the other projects they proposed was Youngman Road, so that's kind of been a little piecemeal on that one. So that took a beating last year when MDOT had M91 shut down. They rerouted traffic down Youngman Road. They tried to keep the heavy trucks off of it, but I don't know how much that was necessarily adhered to. It's also a major thoroughfare for students that are coming from the high school going over to the college. Get a lot of traffic from the school on that. MDOT did pay for, the road commission was able to negotiate with them and get them to pay for some paving work from Elmy Road north to M46. And that's what this first, just over 27,000 proposal would be for that 1.5 miles from Elmy to M46 would be the chip and seal to kind of preserve that investment that MDOT made, and smooth that out. And then the other, it's a separate contract, but Youngman Road, I guess you'd say from Elmy down to the south line of the township is how far it would go. That's 2 miles. That particular stretch is rated at a 2, has a 2 rating out of the 1 to 9 scale, so that would be one of our lower conditioned roads. That one, they're calling for an asphalt wedge with a seal coat and fog seal with the slag, and that's just over 62,000. So the total cost for Youngman, that would be 3.5 miles, would be just over 90,000. And keep in mind, we have to sign 200,000 worth of contracts to get the county to contribute that, half of that, the 100,000. So then that leaves us with a difference to get up to that 200, and there was a couple contracts they quoted us, the low ratings of the 2. One of them was Cutler Road on the south side of Town Line Lake, from Lake Road to Barrage Road. That's just shy of 0.7 miles. Again, that's a low rating of a 2, and they have that seal coat with asphalt overlay and also using the slag. That project would be 77,000, just over 77,000. So the total, if we totaled up all those projects, that would put us at 204,343, and the township's portion would be 104,343, and the county portion would be 100,000. The other project that they had quoted us was from Cutler, on the other side of the township, Cutler Road, from Gravel Ridge to, was it just Nimberger, a little bit past that, but that was more road, and it was, does anybody have that in front of them? How much that was?
89,350.
89, so yeah, that was quite a bit more. I do think there's some opportunity next year with what is being proposed at the state level. Our state representative, Pat Outman, has proposed an overhaul of basically how we fund our roads. And it sounds like, in talking to the road commission, that that's getting bipartisan support, and that there's a very good chance that there could be a significant increase in the funding that would go to the county to be able to disperse for local roads. And so again, we cannot, in our budget, we can't afford to spend $100,000 every year on roads. Even with this amount here, I'm pretty comfortable with spending this amount this year, because I do think in just the projections, we're almost done with our fiscal year, that we are gonna have some carryover from this year's budget, and we also do have fund balance reserve. I think we can make up any difference, but we can't afford to spend $100,000 every year. It's just, without a road millage, we run out of money.
And we gotta remember chloride on top of this.
Yeah, this does not include chloride. Yep, we always do the chloride because, again, we have so many dirt roads. That's just kind of a separate animal, what we do with the chloride, and then we look at what we can do to help with this local roads. Because I don't think the county pays for any chloride. That's on the townships, totally. So, again, more expensive to do the other side of Cutler, on the other side of the township. Last year, we did some work on the north side of the lake, on Lakeshore Drive, so it seems like looking at the other side it's fair and the price point is there as far as what we're looking to get to. So that would, that's what I'm proposing. They did also, throw some contracts out there, it was more of a, if you wanna spend on, we could find some ditching work, or, the brush spray, they will match $2,000. We spend $2,000, they'll spend $2,000, but I don't know, I've seen where it's been done in areas of the township, and I'm not sure it's that effective. I'd rather spend the $2,000 on, you know, one of these paving projects. But that's what I'm proposing. What's everybody else's, do you have any thoughts, comments?
And that Cutler Road, that's one that runs along the lake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a bad road.
Yeah, it hasn't been done in a long time. We do have they usually provide a history of all the roads, and it's been a long time since that's had anything done.
It's a lot of summer traffic on it.
Yeah. Got anything else?
This looks good.
Ginger, any comments? Like I said, it's looking promising that next year we could see a significant amount coming from down from the state through the county, that they would allocate out to the townships. After I talked to the superintendent, he had just had a meeting at the state level, and where the 7 county council or whatever it is he meets with, and he was feeling pretty optimistic about it too. Okay, there's no other discussion. So again, this will all get into this next fiscal year's budget that we're gonna be, doing our workshop on here on whatever it was, the 2nd, and then having the public hearing on, so it's going into next year's budget.
So we'll vote on it then.
No, we gotta vote on it tonight, but I have, like I said, I feel pretty comfortable, where we're gonna wind up at the end of this year, that we potentially have some carryover, and then what we have in our fund balance reserves, I think is a fairly comfortable number to, be able to support. I think usually the township has said like 60,000-ish a year is kind of what is left over to spend on roads, but I think we'll have a little bit more this year where we wouldn't have to necessarily dip into reserves too much, but I think we'll be okay. So, probably need to vote on these individually. I'll make a motion that we approve the, Vale Road chip and seal contract for 2 miles for $37,116. Is there support for that?
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, we'll do roll call. Myers?
Yes.
Solon?
Yes.
Imhoff?
Yes.
Bernwald?
Yes.
Clark Hubbard? Yes. I'll make a motion that we approve the, just lump these together, the 2 contracts for Youngman Road, the chip and seal, 1.5 miles, and the asphalt with seal coat, 2 miles. One being for $27,838, the other for $62,280. Is there support for that? Motion's been made and supported. Further discussion? Do roll call. Bernwald?
Yes.
Clark Hubbard, yes. Imhoff?
Yes.
Bohm?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Motion carries. And then lastly, I'll make a motion that we, sign the contract proposal for, Cutler Road from Lake Road to Barrage Road, 0.68 miles of seal coat and asphalt overlay. Total $77,109. Their support?
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. Further discussion? Hearing none. Do roll call. Myers?
Yes.
Bohm?
Yes.
Imhoff?
Yes.
Bernwald?
Yes.
Clark Hubbard? Yes. Motion carries. We'll need 3 signatures on this. before we leave tonight, and I get that over to road commission. And that wraps up what we had on the agenda. Anything else to come to, before the board, before we go into final public comment?
And I wanna say, that the road commission has, since Bob took over, they've made a Facebook page. And usually in the mornings, quite early, 6:30, they're posting what they're gonna do that day.
Oh, really?
Nuevo County's had it for a while, and it's really helped when I was working over there. But I mean, they just posted this morning what roads are getting, like the next 2 weeks, we're gonna get chloride put on it, so you would know too.
Oh, really?
Or they tell you road closures and they're trimming trees, and like they've been shutting down, going over by Lake Montcalm, the lake,
Okay.
and been working on that, so it is a good one to be
So the
on.
Montcalm County Road
Road
Commission
Commission.
Facebook
Yep,
page.
yep, they've been posting quite often.
Good to know. Okay, we'll move into final public comment.
Matt Hubbard, Cato Township. Just a question kinda out there. Does that have to be certified work, Ginger? Because that's a fire truck, and I would think there would be probably a potential lawsuit. Just a question, maybe you could see if it needs to be
Well,
certified or.
yeah, I can ask, I do know that they talked about as far as just building it, but then the hydraulics and all of that, they have to have somebody certified to do that part. As far as the build of it, I don't know, but that's a good question, and I know there'll be more discussion, so.
Cause if something goes bad,
Hmm?
if something goes bad while they're fighting a fire, don't want a lawsuit.
That would just be a question, that would be for me, I'm not totally concerned, but it would be a good question for them to make sure they check, because boy, if you're lowering somebody down and
I
that thing
know.
goes haywire and drops them, there's a huge lawsuit, so I would almost suspect they would have to have it certified.
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
I don't know, it's just a
They're
question.
working with, I think it's West Michigan Fire, I'm not sure if that's still the name of it, but, yeah.
Any other comments? No. All right, okay, is there a motion to adjourn?